Welcome to CBN4's Primetime News. I am your presenter, Marisa Stedman. Here's a look at the headlines for today. One critical company fails to meet its promised deadline date. Dominicans to see a slight difference in one of its festivals. And almost 20 hours in the air, world's longest non-stop flight. Stay tuned for these and other stories when CBN4's Primetime News returns.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
TB estene et ben tout se, moun ki en bonne santé oli wen ka respire se vermine la. Moun ki pani bon tempérament kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, café, ti mamay e gwa moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun ki ka tousse ni pou prendre précaution le yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvre bouche ou le ka estene tousse. Visiter docteur et ben place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout si maladie TB et HIV, protéger corps et les autres.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
L'année signe tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV pe ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité ou. Aidez du bout si maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
And welcome back. Jaiza Benoit, outgoing president of the National Youth Council, says that his experiences as the president has been humbling. Benoit stated that anyone who has volunteered or is part of the NYC has benefited tremendously. Jaiza recalls his gains being part of the National Youth Council.
I've seen that in every aspect of my life in terms of the NYC, helping me to build myself as a young professional and create further opportunities for me that I didn't even see before I entered the organization. And so it has been a very humbling experience, and I really want to thank the volunteers, the youth group presidents, district youth council members, and the executive members that serve along with me for their volunteer efforts over the past years. Your energy and your input have helped to bring life to our ideas.
Jaiza admits that the National Youth Council is a lot more visible and therefore much more able to be involved in the development thrust that is taking place. According to Jaiza, he is pleased with the executive for adopting the use of working documents to guide the NYC's work program over the 2-year period. Jaiza stated that these documents enable the NYC to evaluate and monitor their work in a coordinated way. Meantime, Jaiziah had some word of advice for the incoming executive.
To encourage the incoming executive to consider adopting these documents in terms of guiding their work program going forward. Also to say to the incoming executive that strategic partnerships are more important than sponsorship. Okay, instead of approaching private sector or diplomatic corps for sponsorship of events, it's better to seek to establish a partnership, something that will be beyond monetary assistance or in-kind assistance in terms of actual physical resources, and build a better understanding of how you can partner with an organization to advance the vision and the opportunities necessary for young people's empowerment.
Jaiziah says that one of the hallmarks he has noticed over the past 4 years in terms of management of the National Youth Council is an increase in the energy at various levels of the organization, the registered youth groups, the district youth councils, and the national executive. And in more news, leader of the opposition Lennox Linton says that his party believes that electoral reform is a most critical need now in the lives of Christian people of good conscience to secure the sustainable resilient development of Dominica for the benefit of all Dominicans. As stated by Linton, political parties are not responsible for the conduct of elections, as that responsibility has been passed in our constitution to the Independent Electoral Commission. He further affirmed that it is the role and function of the Electoral Commission to ensure that the systems for elections are in place and that the election results are the true and honest reflection of the popular will. Linton made this statement at a national consultation hosted by the Concerned Citizen Movement on the need for electoral reform in Dominica.
We have a very unfortunate situation in Dominica, where the election system in the country, the unreformed one, has allowed the Labour Party, the Dominican Labour Party, to steal elections through bribery, through cheating, abuse of the people's money, and other acts of crime and dishonesty. That is our reality today. And when we campaign and we advocate for electoral reform, it is our contribution to the integrity of our election process and our nation-building effort to ensure that the system is protected from that level of abuse.
The opposition leader further noted that persons lose their rights to choose and to change their government as they see fit because of stolen elections.
The people are in charge. The people have the power. The people make a vote of conscience now that X or Y party is good for the leadership of the country. That's fine. But the people also have the right to change X or Y party as they see fit if X or Y party is not serving their interest. But what happens through this corruption of the system is that a political party decides that no longer will the people be allowed to make this decision. We will continually make it for them. And they can only do that through fraud. They can only do that through dishonesty. They can only do that through corruption of the system. Election thieves become brutal dictators. Election thieves visit us with modern-day slavery. People suffer forever and ever.
Linton also mentioned that since May 2005, the United Workers' Party has been calling for electoral reform along the lines of recommendations made by the Chief Elections Officer and the internationally recognized observer missions.
Since March of 2008, the Independent Electoral Commission, with the constitutional duty for free and fair elections, decided on electoral reform to effectively protect elections from bribery, voter fraud, and other corrupt election practices. An advisor to the government a senior counsel called it madness and advised the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit against electoral reform because it would tarnish his re-election legacy. I don't tell stories, I speak truth, I speak fact. And then Alec Lawrence, another senior counsel, was appointed to make sure that the Electoral Commission did not achieve electoral reform as it promised in 2008. So 10 years and 2 elections later, electoral reform has not happened.
Dominica will be heading into another general election, which is constitutionally due in 2020. Linton declares that another election will not be called without the implementation of electoral reform in Dominica. In November of 2017, Dominica's sole electricity company, Domlec, announced that it would restore power to the entire nation by April 2018. We're now in the final week of April, and some communities are still left without electricity. Ever since the company's announcement, questions of whether that deadline could be met by members of all walks of life.
In November 2017, Domlec, through me, spoke to Dominica, and we projected that all things being equal, every customer would have access to Domlec's grid by April 2018. Regrettably, due to the challenges experienced, the restoration will extend past April 2018. Domlec remains committed to providing access to all our customers within the shortest possible time. We currently have on island 90 linemen from the region who are expected to remain here until restoration is complete. So therefore, our manpower challenge has been addressed. Additional equipment is expected to arrive here in May, and we have also started to see in April an improvement in our supply of materials.
She went on to inform the public that 68% of restoration has been made despite various challenges faced by the company over time.
The process has been severely hampered by several challenges, and these include protracted periods of inclement weather, difficulty accessing unsafe terrain, insufficient number of linemen, shortage of specialized equipment, delay in shipping and receiving of material, lack of cooperation by landowners in providing right-of-way access to facilitate the construction of structures, in some cases structures which were there before Maria. At this time, 68% of our pre-Hurricane Maria customers have access to the grid. This does not mean that 68% of our customers are connected. It means that 68% have access to the grid. It means that if these customers are certified, they can be connected. And we wait with open arms to connect them. However, many of our customers cannot be connected because their premises and their electrical installations were adversely affected by Maria.
Mrs. McKenzie stated that town hall meetings will be held in communities expected to be without power, assuring customers that her staff continues to work vigorously to complete the task at hand. She also expressed the company's gratitude to customers for their patience.
We intend to hold town hall meetings in the major areas which are expected to be without power past April 2018. Customers, we have not taken for granted your patience. We are immensely grateful to your customers for your continued patience and support. Let me reiterate at this time that our employees and contractors are working and will continue to work diligently and safely to bring this process, this restoration process, to completion. Thank you.
CBN4 continues to monitor the latest developments in Dominic's restoration process and will keep you informed. And we'll be back with more news after the break.
L'année signe tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV pe ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité ou. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
TB estene et bien toussé, moun qui en bonne santé au liouin qui a respiré ces vermines là. Moun qui pani bon tempérament, kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, ka fumé, ti mamay et grand moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun qui ka toussé ni pour prendre précaution les yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvert bouche ou le ka estene et toussé. Visitez docteur et bien place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Protéger corps et les autres.
Welcome back. President of Concerned Citizens Movement, Loftus Durand, says that the organization is very much concerned about anything that will lend itself to strengthening the democratic principles under which Dominica operates. The president stressed on the protection of our right to live, the protection of our personal liberty, the protection of the freedom of expression, and the protection of assembly, and according to him, more importantly, all the elements which constitutes the protection of our fundamental rights.
These we must safeguard with all that we've got, because any one of these basic rights which the people in Dominica is not free to express, then certainly we would not be living and more so reaping the rewards of a true democracy.
The president noted that the Concerned Citizens Movement and the people of Dominica must commend those who put measures in place to strengthen our democracy. In the same breath, he added that it is with the same or more patriotism that the CCM condemn any groups who seek to undermine, dismantle, and eventually destroy the country's democracy.
Among other means, one way in which we in Dominica must seek to preserve our democracy is through our electoral system, the system by which we elect governments to serve we the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Since our independence as a country, 1978, one may choose to agree or disagree, but the facts over the years pertaining to our elections, when scrutinized, will certainly have cause for concern. without prejudice or malice, we the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica must now take a look at our past, realize where we are now, and certainly strengthen our resolve as a people to charter a way forward in order to consciously and honestly preserve our Dominica as a democratic society.
Durand went on to say that the organization has recorded most, if not all, matters that pertains to our election matters and have compiled reports over the years, as well as the truthful testimonies that confront us every election cycle. The president of the Concerned Citizens Movement laments that in seemingly ordered circumstances, the people of Dominica can change it. And in other news, representative of Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches, Pastor Lennox Timothy, expressed his view on the need for electoral reform, but with a biblical view. Timothy emphasized that democracy is man's best effort to allow the involvement of all in the determination of their destiny.
Government was instituted by God as a servant for civil control of law and order, according to Romans chapter 13, verse 1 to 5. The text does not make government officials prophets or proponents of the counsel of God, but rather his instruments to accomplish his purposes for good civil control. In any functioning democracy, the authority of the government can only derive from the will of the people as expressed in genuine, free, and fair elections held at regular intervals on the basis of universal, equal, and secret suffrage.
Pastor Timothy stated that the organization agrees with the positions of the Inter-Parliamentary Meeting of 1994 in Paris. Pastor Timothy encourages all involved in political matters to do right. According to him, that means taking every precaution to observe and follow every established law, laws such as the House of Assembly Acts.
That every individual has a right, one, to express political opinions without influences, to seek, receive, and impart information, and to make an informed choice, to move freely within the country in order to campaign for election, to campaign on an equal basis with other political parties, including the party forming the existing government. These should include campaign finance reform laws. Every candidate for election and every political party shall have an equal opportunity of access to the media, particularly the mass communication media, in order to put forward their political views.
Timothy pointed out that Scripture teaches that God is in the affairs of the state. He says that this is by no means an indication that God always chooses who might win an election, but it does show that he manages the course of history, even allowing men to continue down a haughty path, such as the case of King Nebuchadnezzar. And also in the news, Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, announced that the presentation of the main stage for the 9th Annual Jazz and Creole Festival will be approached slightly differently, as Dominica is still faced with matters of concern post-Hurricane Maria. Extenuating circumstances post-Hurricane Maria have caused the organizers of the event to alter the normal week of fringe activities. However, Piper confirmed that this year's activities still intends to increase much-needed economic activity, particularly in the north.
Much like the staging of Carnival is an opportunity for residents to exhale as well as amplify awareness of the island in terms of business and tourism continuity, and the reopening of a number of major sites and attractions, not only on the island, but in the north of the island as well. But as expected, budgetary concerns have influenced the final plan. Nonetheless, we have an exciting program of events, which will be unveiled in their entirety shortly.
Speaking at the first press conference for the 9th Annual Jazz and Creole Festival, Piper noted that in the spirit of continuous improvement, the DDA will be using this year as a year to review the product.
Many of you would remember Tropical Storm Thomas and how it altered the staging of the World Creole Music Festival, where we now went to an early afternoon opening on Sunday. So using these events, the natural events of Maria, we are unable to stage the jazz fringe as we normally would have done with a number of our partners here in the South. So we're also looking at initiating a more enticing program to have another major activity in the Portsmouth area. And we're doing that in collaboration with the Portsmouth Association of Yacht Services, PAYS. So we believe that this additional event on Saturday will have two benefits. First, we anticipate that these events will attract people to the north for a longer period, not only one day Sunday, but to come in earlier, probably Saturday and Sunday. So they'll stay for multiple days. And secondly, we're focusing on the yachting community, trying to attract them to come into Dominica, and particularly the north. So both of these initiatives, the Saturday event and obviously the Sunday event at Fort Shirley, resulting in longer stays up north by residents and increased arrivals of yachties, we believe will stimulate economic activity in the north.
Meantime, a number of groups and artists will join the likes of Dominica's Princess of Song, Michael Henderson, and Xavier Strings from Trinidad and Tobago.
In terms of other additions to the lineup, we have Stars. So Stars originated from the Swinging Stars Band. The group will headline with top vocalists and musicians from Dominica. The Stars group is guaranteed to impress the Jazz and Creole audience with a well-rounded performance showcasing various genres of music, including jazz, of course. Moving on, we have the Ecstasy Band. The Ecstasy Band is a 9-member Dominican band, of course, who made their debut in 2009. They are known for their Caribbean fusion style that is heavily influenced by their Creole culture. The band's music has strong compa foundation with elements of other local genres to include bouillon and kadas, Haitian compa, reggae from Jamaica, soca from Trinidad, and songs of Latin Caribbean all form part of what the Ecstasy Band delivers in their performance. And lastly, we have Pan in Harmony. These are a set of young, talented musicians. They are described as the cream of the crop in Dominica. And this is mainly because the group does not only keep the knowledge of pan to themselves, they work tirelessly around the island to make sure that the playing of the pan instrument continues amidst the young generation. So that's a plus for Pan Harmony. So then again, we have Michael Henderson, Xavier Strings, Stars, Ecstasy Band, and Pan in Harmony, who will deliver excellent performances, I may say, on May 20th at the main stage event.
Dominica's Jazz and Creole has become a staple on the entertainment calendar, held on Pentecost Sunday, and features a family event, providing relaxing jazz music and activities for children. The 9th edition of Dominica's Jazz and Creole is proudly represented by the Government of Dominica through Ministry of Tourism and Culture and Discover Dominica Authority, alongside headline sponsor Range Developments. And that has been the presentation of CBN4's Primetime News. I am Marisa Stedman. Good evening.